Hello. In this episode, we'll be covering the challenges of public speaking, but we're going to get help through none other than Richard Asar Stewart of freeingyourvoice.ca. Enjoy. Hi, this is Colin McLean from colinmclean.com, and today we're going to be talking about the challenge of getting over the fear or how to present properly. And before I go on, Richard here, Asar Stewart, is my mentor, my close friend, and how long have we known each other?
Several years now.
Several years? Okay.
6 or 7 years now, at least.
So I'm going to let him share with you what he brings to the table of his expertise.
Sure. Hi, as Colin mentioned, we've known each other a long time. My name is Richard Asar Stewart. I'm an actor, voice and speech coach, presentation coach, communications coach, yoga instructor.
And he's also not just a stage actor, but also a television actor.
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to now begin, and I find for me when I'm presenting, I get a little bit nervous, and I find that my mind starts racing.
Right.
When you're about to present, what are some things you do to get relaxed and get yourself in the zone for presenting to an audience?
Really good question, and I always start with the same response.
Okay.
The most important thing, there are three really important things for speaking and presenting well. And the first is grounding. That is to be really rooted through your feet into the floor. So there's a lot of exercises that I use to help people find that sensation in their body,
Okay.
but it's paramount, right? It's the first thing you need to be able to be a good speaker.
Okay.
The second thing I speak about is alignment. Okay? So once we find that that grounding, then we start to work to align the skeletal structure so that it is doing its job. Because most of us don't actually allow our bones to do their job.
True, I'm guilty of that.
Right? What we do is we use all of our muscles to hold our bodies up. Our bones were designed to hold our bodies up. But we don't know how to do that anymore. Right?
So how should I do that?
Right? So we would start first by helping you really get a sense of the outline of your feet, for example. Right? So for example, I would lead you through an exercise that would sound something like this. Okay? I would also ask you to unlock your knees a little bit. Okay? But I'd say to you, image now, on the bottom of your right heel is a brightly colored dot.
Okay.
From that brightly colored dot on the bottom of your right heel, draw a line around the outside of your right foot to the base of your baby toe. Now from that same brightly colored dot on the bottom of your right heel, draw a line around the inside of your right foot to the base of your big toe.
Okay.
Good. Now from that same brightly colored dot on the bottom of your right heel, draw a line around the outside of your right foot to the base of your baby toe, and up and around the front of your foot, meeting up with the line at the base of your big toe. Now, allow your foot to sink into that outline.
Feels like it's sinking, actually does.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what's the difference now between the left and right side of your body?
Yeah, I feel like there's a pull
Right.
on my right side. It's
Yes.
like in cement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So people often describe that exact same sensation to that exercise. So we're relying on the body's image system, right, which is the most powerful system we have internally, because most of us, I asked this question just yesterday at my students at York University, how do you think? Do you think in words or do you think in images, right, or pictures?
Yeah.
And most of us think in pictures.
Mm.
It's the most powerful way for us to process information. So when I start leading people through exercises that rely on their ability to think in pictures, very powerful things begin to occur. Right? So this is also connected to a very tried and true pedagogy that goes back several years to my teacher and his teacher before him. So everything I'm doing has been proven for generations now, right?
Fantastic.
Right.
Okay, it's good.
So you probably feel a little lopsided.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little opposite. So
Yeah.
I do the same thing on the left side of your body, okay? And for the benefit of time, I'll try to speed it up a little bit. But I'd like you now to image on the bottom of your left heel a brightly colored dot. That dot can have temperature or texture. But from that same brightly colored dot on the bottom of your left heel, draw a line around the outside of your left foot to the base of your baby toe. Good. From that same brightly colored dot on the bottom of your left heel, draw a line around the inside of your left foot to the base of your big toe. Good. And just go inside and be with it. All right?
It's feeling heavier.
Good. Now from that same brightly colored dot on the bottom of your left heel, draw a line around the outside of your left foot to the base of your baby toe, and up and around the front of your foot,
Okay.
meeting up with the line at the base of your big toe.
Okay.
Now, allow your foot to sink into that outline.
Okay.
Good. And now for you, I allowed you to do it this time, but you checking in with me each time is a pattern that you have, right? So
Yeah.
your brain always wants to know what's happening.
Yeah,
while
gotta
it's
know.
happening. You gotta know,
Gotta know.
right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that we have to do when we're learning how to be in a different relationship with our bodies so that we can be better speakers is we have to be willing to be in a space of discovery. So
Okay.
we have to suspend our need to know everything and just entertain the possibility that we can be exploring rather than knowing.
Okay. That's good.
Right? So it's one of the fundamental principles of the pedagogy that I'm utilizing in my work. So through the act of discovery, you can discover what?
Yourself.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
for sure, right? But incrementally, you can make discoveries about your skeletal structure. You can make discoveries about the nature of the way you hold your weight in your body. You can make discoveries about your spine. You can make discoveries about the way your jaw tension is. You can make discoveries about tension in your tongue. You can make all sorts of physiological discoveries that lead to you having answers, that lead to openings, that lead to possibilities.
Interesting. Okay.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
Cool.
So that's a grounding exercise, and there are lots of others that we could do.
Okay. So get grounded, and then the next step.
The next step then I would then look to see if you could leverage that same sense of grounding to stack your skeletal structure. So an example of doing that would be, now I'd like you to pay attention to the relationship between the backs of your heels and the backs of your knees.
Okay.
And notice that your knees are kind of hyperextended, so you locked your knees. Okay. Just want you to float your kneecaps forwards very slightly in space. Good.
Okay.
Feel what's happened to your breath when you've done that. Now I want you to lock your knees backwards and tell me what you feel. What sensations do you feel?
For me, it was forwards, I had a bit trouble breathing.
Okay.
Backwards, I could breathe more.
So that's your habit. So
Yeah.
you're comfortable in that position.
Yeah.
Okay. Most people, when they lock their knees, they'll feel a tension. Okay. Pay attention more. Unlock your knees. I'd be really surprised if you can breathe better than locking your knees.
Locking my knees.
Exactly like that. Precisely.
Okay. Then locking.
Then unlock them. You just took a breath.
Yeah. You're right.
Right? Habit.
Gotcha.
But you had tricked yourself into thinking that I can breathe better like this. Well, virtually almost
Clearly,
nobody can
camera
breathe.
never lies.
Nobody can breathe better that way.
Okay.
Right? You've locked yourself all sorts of ways physiologically. You've locked your lower back, right? You've locked your thighs. You've probably locked your abdomen. Feel all the different places that you've locked, but simply by locking your knees. Right? There are a number of them.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I do in my work is I bring people's awareness to these different ways that they hold tension in their body. Right? Because these forms of tension is how we respond to stress.
And it actually inhibits us from speaking
Precisely.
clearly. Okay, good. I like
Inhibits us from speaking well.
Yeah.
Right? So one of the things that people are learning in the work that I do is they're learning to retrain their bodies so that their natural response to stress is relaxation rather than tension.
Okay.
That is paramount if you're going to speak well.
Gotcha.
Because speaking, for a lot of people, is a naturally anxiety-inducing activity.
Yeah.
Right? From what I understand, it's still the number one fear on the planet. So the way to mitigate that fear or that anxiety is to meet it with relaxation. But the only way to do that is to be into a very deep relationship with your body, know its potential, know its capabilities, know that it will be there for you, and you have to worry about that. All you have to worry about is being in a relationship to your audience.
It's true, because I remember one time I was going to speak, I was much younger, and I was so nervous that when I stood up, my brain sat down.
Right.
And I forgot how to read. I looked at my cue cards, I could not read anymore.
Right.
That's how scared I was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if I take you back to that moment ago when you locked your knees, right, and you really stopped breathing,
Yeah.
okay, what does your brain function on?
Oxygen.
Oxygen.
Yeah.
So if you inhibit your body's ability to breathe, right, you're also inhibiting your body's ability to think,
Exactly. It explains a lot now.
right?
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Okay. So let's go back to the relationship between the backs of your heels and the backs of your knees. And we want to keep our knees soft. Good. Nice. Okay. Now I'd like you to observe the relationship between the backs of your heels, the backs of your knees, and your sitting bones.
Okay.
Now, what are those? For most of us, for everybody, the sitting bones are the bones in the pelvis that we actually sit on. Okay? And interestingly enough, they're designed in a very similar fashion to the bones of our heels.
Okay.
Why do you think that is?
Weight, pressure.
Precisely, right? The body's really extremely intelligent. So the design that it uses to weight bear in the heels is a similar design that it uses in the sitting bones.
Okay.
Because nature doesn't waste,
Yes.
right? If it works someplace, it'll work someplace else. It'll make small tweaks, small adjustments, but the body mirrors itself in functionality. So the functionality of the heels is similar to the functionality of the sitting bones. They are weight-bearing joints. Okay. So I ask people, and as funny as it may seem, I ask them to reach back into their bum,
Okay.
right? And I ask them to palpitate and find their sitting bones. Okay.
Okay.
Everybody can do this if they want. Okay.
Okay.
And then I ask them to breathe into their hands. Okay.
Breathe into your hands.
Breathe into your hands. Breathe into your sitting bones, and your hands are pressing into your sitting bones.
Okay.
Breathe right into your sitting bones. All right. Now, what you're doing is you're lifting your chest, and I want you to just let your abdomen fall out and release. Yes.
So bear gut.
Bare gut.
Okay.
Absolutely. Right. And just see if you can feel or invite the breath all the way down into your sitting bones.
Seems to be more breath now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before I was short of breath a lot of times.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. And the reason that is because you are inviting the breath experience to be experienced deeper in the body into the pelvic bowl. It's a very important center of the body for breath. This is the power generator. This is the power source right down here in the pelvis. It's the source of all primal desire, urge, need. Everything lives down here. Right? It's extremely important to be able to access this part of your body as a speaker. Okay? And what we're doing now is we're building the integration from the heels up to your sitting bones. So come back to the exercise, observing the relationship between the backs of your heels, the backs of your knees, and your sitting bones.
Okay.
Okay. Now, to take this one step further, I'd like you also to include in that awareness your lower back ribs, right? And already instinctively, your hands wanting to go there.
You know me
right?
too well. Yeah.
Right? This is how intelligent the body is.
Yeah.
Right? It's saying, "Oh, you're giving me a chance to breathe like that? Really? What up? Okay." Because really, I could really use some air back here. Can you put your hands there, please? Because you opened up my pelvis for me. Can you put your hands back here, please? Your body's telling you what to do.
Interesting. Okay.
Right? Now, breathing to your lower back ribs, breathing into your hands. Right. And I just felt that for you as well. Okay, so that's a deeper breath experience, probably than you're normally used to.
Yes.
Okay. So we're creating space in the body now. Okay. That's great. That's fantastic. Now, again, this is a very important area of the body to be able to breathe into. You're breathing into your lower back ribs. Your organs there, the organs there are the kidneys. Okay. What sits on top of the kidneys?
Liver? No.
Sits close to it. There's a gland that sits right on top of the kidneys. The adrenal glands.
Okay.
Right. How do the adrenal glands function in your body in terms of stress and anxiety?
It's like the flight and fear.
Exactly.
running.
Precisely right.
Yeah.
Fight or flight mechanism is right there on the adrenal glands. So, by being able to breathe into this part of your body, you can actually mitigate your fight or flight response.
So then, if the flight kicks in, it will explain why when I speak fast and get the speech all over
Exactly.
in seconds.
Or run off the stage entirely, right?
Yeah.
Or not show up entirely,
It's
right?
tempting, yeah, very
Right?
tempting.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
But if you can start to open this part of your body, so this is a natural breathing space for you, right? Not only can you calm yourself down, but you can mitigate your fight or flight response, right? And you can access significant reserves of energy in your body.
Okay.
So, what we're doing now is we are stacking the bones of the body, okay? But if I want to ask you a metaphorical question, how do we fill a glass of water?
Well, you just find a vessel, the water, you pour into it slowly until it reaches the level you want.
Precisely right. But how does the water hit the glass?
Sharp. You have to pour it. It hits it first sharp, and then it starts filling up.
Sure, but it fills from the bottom up.
Up, exactly.
Right.
Never from the top down.
Right. So most people breathe from the top down.
Interesting.
They breathe into their neck, and they breathe into their chest, and they wonder why they're running out of air.
Yeah.
They wonder why they're tired at the end of the day. Right? So, anatomically, the lungs, the largest part of the lungs is in the back of the body.
It's true because it's more of a tear shape.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So just physiologically, being able to breathe into the back body gives you more access to oxygen.
So I've been using pretty much the top part of my lungs.
Right.
Wondering why I'm always running out of air.
Precisely.
Got it.
This is the most limited portion of the lungs.
The voice cuts out.
Voice cuts out. So we're breathing into the lower back ribs. We're using the larger capacity of the lungs. Okay. We're allowing the ribs to do their work. Right? We're also creating space for the diaphragm to release downwards and upwards. And the diaphragm is what actually brings air into the lungs. Right? It's the suctioning muscle that does that for us. Okay.
Okay.
So to continue the exercise now, I would then ask people to bring their awareness to their shoulder blades.
Okay.
Okay. Now, for you and I, this is a really important part of your body that you need to work on, that we should work on
True.
privately. Okay, because if where you hold tension in your body.
It's always in my neck and my shoulders.
Precisely right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to turn around for a
Okay.
moment. Okay.
This way or?
This way, so you're facing me. Your
Okay.
back is facing me. I want you to still be on camera so people can see what
Okay.
I'm doing with my hands. Okay. So the interesting thing about the shoulder blades is that there are these large triangular shaped bones that literally hang off the clavicle. They hang off the shoulder.
Okay.
So they're free of any kind of tension here. They're not free of tension muscularly, but they're free to move. Okay.
Okay.
So as such, they have a tremendous capacity for movement. Okay. So I'm going to place my hands on your shoulder blades so you get a clear sense of where they are.
Okay.
Good. Now I'm going to ask you to revisit the relationship between the backs of your heels, the backs of your knees, and your sitting bones. Good. So you're starting to breathe a little bit more freely now.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Nice. So once again, resuming your awareness of the relationship between the backs of your heels, the backs of your knees, sitting bones, and your lower back ribs. Good. Excellent. Heels, knees, sitting bones, lower back ribs. And now I'd like you to include in your awareness your shoulder blades. Now it may be difficult for the camera to see this, but what's beginning to occur is that your shoulder blades are moving outwards and up in response to your breath,
They really ever do.
right?
Yeah,
Well,
they are.
most of us who live in North America, we house a lot of tension in this part of the body,
Yep.
right underneath the scapula, right underneath the shoulder blades. If you sit at a desk for a long time, you're collecting all sorts of tension here, right? If you're doing any sort of typing for a long period of time, you're collecting all sorts of tension here. So just now your body's beginning to release some of the tension and allow space for the shoulder blades to move. Okay? This is a really important action and activity in the body for breath, a really important action and activity in the body to be able to speak well. Now what will happen if we've done our job well is that the shoulder blades will also be working in unison with the lower back ribs. Now I can tell from here that you're holding your abdomen in, right? Just let your belly go. Yes. Okay. Good. To complete this exercise, I'm going to ask you to observe the relationship between the backs of your heels, the backs of your knees, and just float the kneecaps forward ever so slightly. Good. Your sitting bones, lower back ribs, shoulder blades. And now I'd like you to also include the awareness of the back of your head and skull. Now I'm going to invite you to breathe your entire back body as one living structure. From your heels all the way up to your skull. Exactly. Good. Nice. And just feel what that's like. How reassuring it is to be able to breathe your entire back body. Good, now you can turn towards me.
Okay.
What we're doing, literally, physiologically, anatomically, is you are building your back. Okay. Metaphorically, you are learning to have your own back.
Wow. Okay.
Which is extremely important as a speaker.
Mm.
Right? You have to have that sense of solidity and security. Do you feel an increased sense of assurity inside by being able to feel that strength and solidity of your back?
I feel lighter.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. Yeah.
Incredibly,
Yeah.
right? So you have that same sense of, and you still have the same sense of grounding,
Yes.
right? So you have weight and you have buoyancy at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Okay.
Right? Professional athletes have that. Groundedness, but buoyancy. Right?
Got it. Because usually when I was speaking before, I would find my body curling like
Hang
this.
on, it's off, right?
And then I find that my throat
Starts to
is
collapse, right?
and all the power's in the throat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wonder why I can't speak
Fill the
and
room.
fill the room. I'm
Right.
only getting maybe the fourth row or fifth,
Right.
not the 20th
Not the
row.
20th row, right?
Gotcha.
So we work to build your back body. So now that the front body can be what?
Open
Exactly.
to receive. Got
Receive,
it. Yeah.
right? And receive your audience.
Got it. Okay.
To be in relationship with your audience,
Mhm.
right? So it's really important that we build this structural foundation. And there's lots of ways that we go about doing that. But this is just one of the exercises that I utilize. Because this structural foundation will save you time and time and time again. In
Gotcha.
a moment's notice, if you can get up on your, find your feet,
Mhm.
find your structural alignment, and just let your body breathe,
Mhm.
you're halfway there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
It's true. Well, thank you for that.
my pleasure, my
Okay.
pleasure. Any questions that come up for you around that work and its application?
You know, it gives me more perspective because I used to wonder why a lot of times that I find myself collapsing
Mm-hmm.
and losing energy, and why after every speech I'm like exhausted. I feel like I've run like a 100-mile marathon.
Right. Well, it's interesting for you. Right. So if you're not trusting your bones, if you're not allowing yourself to be grounded from the floor up,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which means for you end up speaking primarily from the chest up,
Yes,
okay, and where, interestingly enough, where do you house most of your tension in your body?
in my back and chest.
In your chest.
Yeah.
So you're using the exact parts of your body that are actually inhibited
Mm.
to speak from.
Wow. Okay. That's like a flashlight in my head now.
Right.
Light bulb flashing.
It's like
Yeah.
you're you know, it's like you're walking in quicksand.
Yeah, that's what I felt many times.
Right. Right. So the work that I do as a voice coach is designed to give people the freedom in their bodies so that they can experience the freedom of their voice.
Good. Okay.
And once you have that, you can utilize that in a myriad number of ways, whether it's to make a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, a speech, an impromptu talk, a video, whatever it is. Having the connection to your body and voice this way will serve you as a communicator. Right?
Powerful.
Thank you. I think so too.
Thanks. Okay.
I think so too.
That's good.
Yeah. Because that's the difference between what I do and what you might have at an organization that teaches speaking skills, for example. Okay? You can become a better speaker, but the work I'm doing with you will ultimately help you become a better communicator
And a powerful speaker.
and a powerful speaker.
Gotcha.